Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today, well, you might not recognize him because he is changed for 2020. It's Adam Dorn, Fitchburg Fire Rescue. Adam.
Jeremy.
Wow. You clean up real nice there.
Okay, thank you.
That fits into your mask, is that why?
Yes.
That's the whole theory behind the handlebar?
Exactly.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
Sure, I understand that.
Right.
we have you in here today. I have to give them a little bit of trouble. We're talking about winter fire safety. It's been a kind of a strange winter, so
right.
as we're looking at this today, it's a cold day out there, but you know, as we look at the rest of the winter time, it's still a good time to practice good fire safety. Some startling statistics here: 890 people die in winter home fires each year, and that peak time is from 5 to 8 p.m. That's my setup for you. What are we really talking about when we're looking at winter and fire safety?
Yeah, it's the numbers are kind of startling. You wouldn't think that that's when it happens, but it is. Like you were saying, half of all home heating fires happen in 3 months: December, January, February. That's because that's when we're home. That's when we need heat. That's when it's the coldest, especially in Wisconsin here. Maybe not end of 19, but January and February it's going to get cold. It has been for a little while. So that's when we're home. That's when it's cold. We want extra heat. We want to stay warm. We want to be comfortable. And what's crazy is that 1 in every 7 home fires and almost 1 in every 5 home fire deaths somehow involve some sort of heating equipment that we have in the home to supplement our furnaces.
So that could be portable heaters, that could be chimneys, that could be the occasional somebody opening up a stove, which you shouldn't be doing by any means. We've talked about that many times on this show. So let's just break it down here on the basics. When we're talking about those different components, how can we be on the preventative side of things to still heat our homes and yet stay safe? And I could think of one just off the top of my head that dings really loudly.
Well, I'm going to let you start with that.
Those smoke alarms, boy, do they pay off.
Yes, they do. Smoke alarms are absolutely necessary in your home. We recommend to have one on every level of your home, one outside of every sleeping area of your home, and one in every bedroom of your home. Yes, that could be 5 or 6 smoke detectors by the time you're done. But it's worth the investment because it will alert you to the smoke or fire that is in your home much earlier than anything else will. And it gives you that much more time to get out and be alive. That's absolutely one thing to be concerned about. The other one is a lot of times in the winter we have carbon monoxide issues. So one thing, always make sure that your vents are clear from your furnace and your dryers, that kind of stuff. That's a big one. We tend to overlook that at times. With having carbon monoxide detectors, make sure that you test them every month. And be aware what the end-of-life cycle or sound is going to be, because most carbon monoxide detectors will have an end-of-life cycle alarm. So when that goes off, it's telling you it's still working, but it's going to quit soon. Carbon monoxide detectors are good for about 7 years before they need to be replaced. Now, you need to make sure you follow the manufacturer's recommendations at all times on that.
I've noticed, too, I just purchased one, doing one of the checks outside of our bedroom in the main hallway, and it didn't work. And I was like, by the way, it was a plug-in one.
Right.
So it just didn't work. And I was like, how is that even possible? You have direct power. Like, what's going on? But it turns out it was one of the original ones in the house. And the house was built 20 years ago, and I was like, ooh,
now
Adam Dorn would not be very proud of this guy.
Remember,
right
every
now.
7 years, you got to check them, replace them at least.
So the new one that I got had actually write a date on the back of it when you installed it,
yep.
Which is pretty cool. So it's good not only to be popping these off and probably looking and seeing it, or even if you move into a house, mark that date on there when you moved in, so you can remember to check that. But do you know with combination fire and carbon monoxide? Again, I know you're gonna say recommended. manufacturer status, but is that life then cut back? Because I think my rule of thumb has been 10 years, but again, by manufacturer.
Right. I think the manufacturer's recommendation is the easiest way to go about knowing when to change that. So when you install them, you can actually write on the back of them with a Sharpie saying, I installed on this date and it says it's good for this amount of time. I should check it then. And the other thing, we all have calendars now on our phones. Put that reminder in when you install them for 5, 6, 7, 10 years from now to say, change smoke detectors. You may not think about it at that time, but it's a good way to remind yourself to do that.
That's a really good one. Some other things on the fly here, of course, an easy one with a portable space heater or any of these heating sources, keeping some distance away from whatever that source is a must.
Yeah. It's recommended to have at least 3 feet of clearance between the item or unit that's hot and anything else. Because we don't want to have people getting burned. If you're having a fireplace, sparks could come out. You also have the spark arresters with the chain and everything else, but you never know. We want to be safe about that. So make sure that you keep your space heaters, if you're using them in a bedroom, keep them away from your bedding. Put them in the middle of the room where there's nothing around it. One of the other things to remember is that when you're using maybe a space heater or other items that draw a lot of electricity, only plug one item into an outlet.
Well, we're just. I think of last time we talked about this during the holiday season, and I just think of that Clark Griswold scenario where you got 20 lights plugged into one, all together into one little outlet, and you're like, oh boy, boy.
Yeah. So one heat producing appliance into an outlet. Don't plug them into the power strip because it can overwhelm the power strip and it can start to melt the power strip and you can have a fire. So directly to an outlet with the heat producing devices. Some of the other things to think about is that if, let's just say we get a nasty storm and the power goes out and we're going to be out for a while, and you somehow either have a portable generator already or you go find one, make sure you keep those generators away from the windows and as far away from your home as possible, right? You're still going to need it relatively close so that you can power what you need to power inside, but those generators can cause fires if they're not properly fueled. You should let them cool before you fuel them. And then not only that, but they also produce gases, right? Carbon monoxide and stuff. If you have that next to your window, that goes back into the house, and now you have a carbon monoxide issue. Some other things to think about. Do you have a fireplace in your house?
I don't. I have a gas fireplace, which I just blew the fan out on, so there's that. But no, I have. But this is a serious one. It's happened here in Fitchburg, and when you're messing with the fireplaces, real quickly here, how do we deal with this?
Well, first of all, before you start your fire in a fireplace, before you do that for the year, have it professionally inspected and cleaned. Every year. Doesn't matter how much wood that you burn or how often you burn. The type of wood that you burn is very directly related to how much creosote is built up in your chimney. So that's why it's very important to make sure it's cleaned every year. The other thing is that after you've burned in it, you want to remove the ashes. But when you do so, make sure they're completely cooled. And even when you think they're completely cooled, they're probably not completely cooled. So make sure you put those ashes in a metal container. Make sure you have a cover on it and put it outside of your house. Do not dump the ashes directly into a paper bag or plastic bag and put it in your trash can. Most likely you will have a fire because we've seen that time and time again here in Fitchburg.
Yeah, good tips here overall. Again, we know it's the middle of winter now, but really feels like our winter is just getting rocking and rolling here. But I know these sound like easy tips, but day after day after day in the U.S., this just keeps happening over and over again. So, Adam, appreciate it. As always, if folks want to learn more and get more tips, where would you recommend that they go?
Well, they can stop in at any firehouse, either of our firehouses, Firehouse 2 over on Marketplace or Firehouse 3 on Scion Road. They can go to our website at fitchburgwi.gov/fire, or they can call us.
Fantastic. Adam Dorn, always a pleasure. We'll see you back here. I'll talk some portable heating.
Yeah.
All about portable heating, because that's a serious serious topic.
We like to stay warm.
Yeah, and that will air in a cold day, I can tell you that right now. All right. Take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.